Hi, I'm Monty. Thank you for joining me. Yesterday I received a comment in the section from Tom Rainey who was asking about humidity and cracking of guitars and how that happens. You'll recall that in our previous video I was showing you how to remove one of the braces from the top of the guitar, and I was using my spatula. And in order to do that, of course it's rounded at the edges, I heated it with a heat gun, and then I just simply put it underneath there and played away with it so that the glue would come loose. Well, what happens when you leave a guitar in your car or your SUV or your van or your truck in the summertime, and the glue is going to heat, and you could come back to your guitar, open up the case or whatever it may be. If you just put it into the guitar without a case, you may just come back and find it as a whole bunch of kindling and it's all broken apart and the top is lifted, etc. And that's done from heat. Now, humidity, to answer Tom's question, a lack of and too much of, especially a lack of, will cause guitars all kinds of problems. It will warp the neck, it can twist it, it can crack the body, it can cause the bridge to lift off as it sinks or shrinks, if you will, and pulling on that could cause a belly bulge in the guitar, but it can also lift off the actual bridge of the guitar. So humidity plays a key role in the guitar build. Now, on our top here, and I'm not done with this puppy yet, but we've got braces sitting here, 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 and of course the X brace and the braces across here, and they're all going across grain. This area down here at the bottom, I have another piece of wood going back and forth with the grain going as in the motion of my hand when the grain of the top is up and down. That's to make it more solid. Now, sure enough, Tom, I can't believe this actually happened, but yesterday afternoon my wife walked into the shop and looked at this top and said, well, I see you've got it all braced. I said, well, not quite. She says, what are you going to do in here? You're going to put a brace in there? You need to put something in there to brace it. And she's right, I do. So what we're going to do right now to make that work is we're going to make a real fast jig out of this simple square block of wood, and this little piece, which was actually the top of a guitar, I've cut it into small strips because it was scrap, and I will use this to make another piece like you saw at the bottom and then glue it in between those two cross braces. So keep your guitars humidified. I like to keep my guitars in the case when I'm not using it. Now every 3 or 4 days I go back to my guitar and open up the case to make sure that the humidifier has enough water in it and keep it well humidified. I do that because I'm in Ontario and in the winter it's very dry here, and it's very easy in dry atmosphere for the guitar to shrink. And when it shrinks, of course, it could break the glue, it can cause the wood to shrink and crack. Now you could damage the guitar by hitting it on the top and cause a crack, and if that happens then you need to humidify it. But what you do is you put some tape on either side of the crack, add a little bit of glue to that, and let it just wick through. If it's just a slight crack, make sure you have something like wax paper in your guitar so that if you use a CA glue, the thin, which is very watery, as it wicks through, you want it hitting the wax paper, not the inside of your guitar. So make sure your guitar is well humidified, and if it is, you won't have any problems. Make sure your shop is well humidified. I've got a dehumidifier over here. I've got a humidifier on the furnace that blows humidity into here, so I try to keep this area controlled, keep the door closed. Well, that's it for this video, Tom. I hope that answered your question. Make sure you keep your guitar well humidified, keep it in a case, keep it safe, and don't just let it sit out that it could fall over and crack and get broken. Meanwhile, I'm heading up to get a refresh on my tea. It's English breakfast, the best tea going. And by all means, get yourself a cup, and I'll see you after you subscribe in the next video. See ya. Oh man, it's so good.